Good morning. How y'all doing today? Good morning, guys. Good morning, believers, achievers, motivators, movers, and shakers. Happy Friday. It's Friday, guys. How'd y'all rest? Well, I slept good overall. Today, I wanted to talk about when you love somebody and you trust them, you really want them to have their heart's desires. And you really want them to know that they're perfectly safe with your intentions. And that's why I think that the Lord's Prayer is a great place for me to start off today. So I'm just going to say the Lord's Prayer real quick, okay? Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, if ye if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive you your trespasses. And I forgive everyone who has trespassed against me in any way. And I love everyone. The Lord has created in me a new heart, and I love everyone. And I'm free and happy to say that today. I really love how the Lord, though He gives us free will, I love how I can trust Him with complete surrender of my life and my free will. And I ask that His will be done in my life because I trust His will. So I make no petitions to God. My prayer is that His will be done in my life. And that's something I haven't been able to do before now because I figured that I want to plan my life how I want to plan my life. I want things when I want things. And in all honesty, I wanted to pray as I wanted them. But even in seeing that my heart's desires were became my biggest hangups and holdups in my life. And I surrender my control today. And in saying that, I want to say that when we really trust somebody, even if we don't really trust them, even if we're at the end of our lives and they say, who would you like to speak on your behalf? If it comes down to you being plugged or unplugged, if you can't speak for yourself. And a lot of times, automatically, that right goes to the person's spouse, the next of kin, if it hasn't been clarified by the person while they was in their right mind. And sometimes people don't have a chance to say, okay, well, I trust this person completely. Sometimes their choice is simply because they would rather somebody they know have that decision than somebody they don't know. And when it comes to life, when you're in a toxic relationship or friendship or whatever, when it comes to life, when you really want the best for somebody, you want them to live how they want to live. You want them to be the biggest expression of who they are as they can. Because by the time you have connected with them, you know who they are. You're not trying to change them. And you accept them for who they are. In fact, you simply love them for who they are. You simply are equally yoked. You have the same values. If all the intentions was right, if God brought you together, especially, there's some people who come in our lives just for lessons and blessings. And by the time you get to say, God, have your way in my life, you have reached the point where you fall into the Lord's Prayer. Because having His way in your life means His will being done on earth as it is in heaven. With that Christ consciousness and knowing that He will create a life for me better than I could ever create for myself. Knowing that He only has the best intentions for me in every way. And knowing that who I love, He loved first. And with my control being surrendered to Him, I feel I can take my hands off of everything and put my focus on my purpose, which are the dreams and the goals that He has put in my heart. And I feel really happy and satisfied with my son's rearing, even though me and his father aren't together. And that doesn't mean that his father isn't his father in his life. I had said on Facebook the other day, I had said I was answering somebody and I was saying I'd rather raise my son alone. But when I said that, what I meant was I don't want to bring anybody in my life and have my son around that person. At this point in my life, I'm very happy single. But as Father Day approaches, I'm like, have you spoke to your father? And he's like, no. I was like, Father's Day's coming up. So he called him right away. And his father works a lot, but he's always there for all his events and stuff. So that doesn't have anything to do with me. But um, outside of his father, I know my Heavenly Father will help me in doing the very best for his life, much better than I could ever plan. I wanted to get back to wanting who we love to have their heart's desires because, as I was telling you guys yesterday, every day I have come up on my phone. I thought it was 6:45, but 7:15 that come up on my phone. I must have got up later yesterday. And no, it was like 6:30 when I got up yesterday. Oh yeah, that's because the knock on my door. Okay, so today what came up on the phone is love is patient, love is kind, love does not boast, and it does not envy. And love, that's what God named me. Love is not boastful because the things that you acquire, the fruits that hang, is supposed to be um, abundance that speaks for itself. It's not to put in anybody's face, even if your goal is to let someone know that they haven't hurt you in any way. Even if you're like boasting because it's like, um, because God's looking out for me. I ain't got to worry about this. I ain't got to worry about that. Even if no matter what your intentions was, it still doesn't matter because love does not boast. Love is not envious because we want for our brother and sisters what we want for ourselves, their idea of their most abundant life within God's principles, within what He would supply them at the time that He feel is good for them. And that's what I want for you. And that's really what I think that will heal all of our land. The biggest way to acquire anything, of course, is to seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will be added. But before we can even get to that part, there's so much we gotta go through. I think it's so crazy how so many things have to be reached in our mind before we can actually reach it in our life. And how they say you have everything you need equipped inside of you. And It's like, no, I don't. Because I don't have money. Because I don't have this. I don't, I don't have that. But I'm saying if that as an example. And for real. I'm like, you are anyway. I'm home broke where I got everything I need in my home. I don't need for anything. I got a few dollars in the bank. That's kind of broke. But what I was saying um, is how they say that phrase, and it's just like how it only takes for, like I was telling you guys before, which I probably erased it because God let me erase the things that I was not dressed appropriately on because uh, for the obvious reasons. So I erased some things. But I was saying on one of them that um, when I first got neuropathy, it took them a while to find out what medications worked for me. But in the meantime, for that first like 3 to 4 months, I was really in a lot of pain and I was getting all kind of over the counter stuff. I was getting creams and stuff to spray that freezes the pain. Then the hot packs, and stuff like that to take away the pain. And when I finally got to the doctor and they gave me a pill, I was confused because I'm like, the pain is in my hands and in my feet. And then I found out that certain receptors in your brain takes away the pain in your hands and in your feet. I'm like, oh, okay. And same as God, how in His timing, as we mature, you notice some people don't mature. Some people are left with reprobated mind in a certain age, and that's how they think. They just might be a child in a grown person body. If you just only watched them by their actions and nobody said what they look like, what their age was, and you just saw on paper what their actions and thought process was, then you would look at it and be like, okay, this is a 12-year-old you're talking about? Because they've been left with that state of mind. That's when they stop maturing. But the Lord unlocks maturity. They can't give you a pill to make you mature. They can give someone a pill to make them stop maturing um, hormonally when they're trying to stunt different features and stuff coming out from wanting to be a girl when you're a boy and vice versa. But they cannot give maturity. God's got to give maturity. And so as He unlocks different levels of maturity at different ages, and different desires to help us in our maturity. Same with His timing on things. Like, well, it wasn't your time to learn how to make money for yourself and do what you love to do. Because if you had started doing that before time, then you could sabotage yourself because you haven't got to the point in your life where you don't stop self sabotaging yet. And if you got to that point and you self sabotaged, then your image would be destroyed and you could never start at that level again But if you worked your way up to that level and you self sabotaged, then that means that it's something you had a fair chance in. Just like when we do something after we know better, that's when he holds us accountable because it's like, okay, well, now you knew better. But before then, when somebody be like, even in court, be like, Your Honor, this is a 15-year-old. He had no idea that the law stood for him to be tried as an adult, or he could be tried as an adult. I'm sure he would not even be in their vicinity that if he knew he could be tried as an adult by just being with this group of people, I'm sure he would have reconsidered. So he didn't have everything available to him for him to make the right choice. And before man's court, the heavenly court, the Lord, he weighs the scales. He's not going to hold you responsible for something that your parents supposed to be responsible for because it's just like, he leave us responsible to care for our children. And even they shouldn't know certain things before a certain age because they're not mature enough. I don't speak about uh growing up business around my son. He don't have no idea when I don't have money or aside when I borrow something from them, then he knows. But I'm saying he don't know if I'm in have any hardship of a bill or something like that. There's certain things that he shouldn't know. And as we mature, as God gives us that, and we start throwing away old thoughts. We start throwing away different things that don't serve us. We stop and come to a place that it's just like, I don't care about that. That doesn't affect my life one way or another. I'm not trying to be bound. I'm not trying to create problems that I don't need to have. I want to live in abundance. God unlocks that place for abundance as we can get rid of all the other underlying stuff. Now, this is when we're walking on our narrow path and we've surrendered our lives. I'm not talking about when you make your decisions for yourself and you are in yourself and you be like, okay, well, God, please, 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 can I have it? Please, please, please. I'll do this, I'll do it, please, please, please. And if it's not in his will, he's still not going to do it. But if it's in his will, then he might, I don't know. But what I'm talking about is when you like surrender and you're now at the point where you can surrender everything, the point where you just be like, God, your will be done in my life. I'm not trying to say, okay, I want this, then I want that, then. I want you to determine and do it as you see fit, as opposed to me constantly saying, Lord, please, Lord, this, Lord, that, because He sees everything already. And now my prayer can just simply be thank you. My prayer can just be simply praising Him for the day what his desires was for me. And he is so much more aware of so much more. He wants so much more for us than we want for ourselves. Have you felt that way about anybody? Have you had that kind of love in your life in the human realm? I know that they say that you're supposed to be able to trust your husband or your wife with your life, and you're supposed to be equally yoked, and you're supposed to be able to feel like even if you had um, $1 million, $2 million policy, that you're worth so much more alive than gone, period. Because money does not matter when it comes to you, because there's only one you. Have you felt like that? Well, that's how you're supposed to feel when somebody says they love you. They don't have to even say it because you can feel it in everything they do, even in how they talk to you, even not the words, but I'm talking about the tone. Now, of course, we get upset. Sometimes we get frustrated, aggravated, and everything. Of course, we're human. But I don't care. I don't care how mad I am. If I'm upset, if I had stepped on that nail and my son come be like, Mom, like, yes, honey, what is it? I ain't ever, what do you want? What? I don't care. As soon as I hear his voice, but yeah, honey, what is it? What's wrong? I stepped on the nail. Oh man. Then it's exchange. And it's much worse than it is now since he's here. Like, oh my goodness. Mom, you all right? I think I need to sit down. I'm gonna get my attention. So I've been thinking to myself, you're so cute. And when he was younger, they wanted to prescribe him medication. And in order for him to receive benefits, that's what it was like sort of hinged on because it's like, okay, well, uh, if he's not taking medication, then it's going to be hard to prove that he has um, autism, and you might have to wait a couple years for him to finish developing. So I waited that extra 7 months. So I'm like, I'm not going to start him on no medication. He's young. His mind is still developing, and even though I wasn't saved, I trusted that God would have his way in his life, and he's never taken any medication for autism. And I didn't want him dependent on anything for his mind. And in all things, I asked God to keep my mind. That's something my grandmother taught me. She always be like, when I would take a deep breath, I'd be like, oh, thank you, Lord. But she would always be like, Lord, keep my mind. Because sometimes I don't care how much you love some people, sometimes your worth isn't quite what their worth is to you. But back to my question to you. Have you had a chance to feel that? Even if you broke up with the person now, but while you was in the relationship, did you feel that way? Have you had a chance to really experience real love here on this earth through your children, through your mate, through your parents, well, then you know how beautiful of a thing love is. And then you know how much feeling trusted, how satisfying that is. And I said that because when we get to the point where we can tell God, I trust you to make all my decisions for me. I trust that my heart's desires are as even as good as yours, your desires for my life. And I gave you all the best advice I could give you when I was cooking the other day. Hi. And that was to protect your peace and to create a space of peace, even if it's just in your mind. Even if you start meditating, to meditate, to learn how to, oh, you're in Brazil? Cool. Hi. Even if it is you learning to meditate, which when I started learning how to meditate, I just simply closed my eyes and learned how to concentrate on listening to my breath, tuning everything else out. And when you first start, you're gonna be like stuff will pop in your mind. Like, what am I gonna make for dinner tonight? Get out of my mind. Try to meditate. I wonder if my show on yet. Get out of my mind. I'm trying to meditate. Those kids in there quiet. Get out of my mind. I'm trying to meditate. You might take a few times before you learn how to concentrate on your breath. Even if it's kids running around, even if no matter what, not to try to think of nothing. Just learn to be still. And after you learn to be still, learn how to pray and then listen. Then on your way to sleep, learn how to listen while you listening to your breath. And then go from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. I only got up to 5 minutes. And then from there, I just went from that to on my way to sleep. That might be 10 to 15 minutes, like that. But create peace in your mind so that when things come to challenge you, the first thing your mind goes to is not here, there, everywhere that's hitting you. First, you go to the peace so you can hear from God, and then you can manage. And when you're not sure of something, you know how to test the spirit. Even in that moment, somebody come and they say something to you, and you don't know their intentions, you don't feel their energy yet or anything. And you test the spirit, and you automatically just you don't even gotta say anything. You're testing the spirit in your peace. You're already at peace. You've learned how to create peace. And a lot of things are unlocked inside of you as God see fit, like your eyes to see and your ears to hear. It's just like people who have eyes to see and ears to hear is actually starting with baby food. Like your eyes just barely, Newborn babies used to couldn't open their eyes all the way when they were first born. It probably take 2 or 3 days to put Vaseline on their eyes to make sure they can start opening. Now they come out like, "What's up? What's up?" Who that? Where daddy at? I heard him. But it used to be that they could only like come out with their eyes, and then you'd have to hold their whole back and neck. Now they just be holding them like this. They neck be all like, they better learn how to balance. Hurry up! Now it's been a week. The umbilical cord come all off the next day. They be pulling it off, reaching for their bottle. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just being silly. Excuse me. Um, I had a bobby pin right there, but leather sweating. Um, but how we that was the best advice I could give you was about peace. And also something I recently learned, and this was through my training with the car life and van life. Now I'm waiting for my new arrival of my projector to come because I got rid of my old television. It was a gift to me, and I've been clearing space of different items that was not given to me with the best of intentions. So now it started where I got cleared different people in my life and different ways of thinking. Now, instead of just spring cleaning, I've been doing spiritual cleaning as well, clearing space and making space for upgraded things that the Lord will bring into my life. And I even started clearing my china cabinet and ordered my projector so I can have my whole wall space. And yeah. So anyway, but getting back to me doing so I am going to be still doing things on the screen, on the wall or whatever. But in the meantime, the Lord will have me to talk to you and just simply come from wherever He would have me to come from for you. And so then after get, learning how to get your peace, to learn to balance your peace, and then to learn how to not look ahead, not be always just looking ahead. Of course, we want to focus on our purpose and everything, but to really get comfortable in the moment because it's all about the journey there. I had this meme where this guy, he's like running, 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 and lean. And he's like, it's money in front of him, and he's like reaching as he's running, and stuff, the money flying past him, and he's grabbing and grabbing. And then there's the road stops. And as he gets to the end of the road, it's like a cliff. And finally, he has all this money in his whole arm, but he like stops. It's nowhere to spend it. It's nothing to do. Everything is passing by. He wasn't even able to see, was there mountains on the side of him? Was there animals, on your way to your route? Was there even land around? Was you running on the street? Was you running in the dirt? He wasn't able to enjoy the ride there. And even when you get to where you want to go, what about the people along the way? The lives you affected, the lives affected your lives, all of your lives. And I've had many. And let me stop playing because I don't want to sound like I'm saying that spiritually. But when I say I've had many lives, I'm talking about graduating. When you get to certain levels and you are chosen, it's just like you have exceeded. Uh, uh, you have not just only a new level, but you have actually stepped into another version of yourself. God, y'all chosen ones know what I'm talking about. Moving on. But to enjoy the yourself along the way. And I was telling you guys, me and my son's making plans to actually go camping and fishing and stuff this summer. Actually enjoy the pool this summer. And just because we're not of the world, we're still in the world. So it's a lot of stuff that the world has to offer. And so we're going to enjoy it, enjoy nature, enjoy time together outside of the house. And, you know, but it's not like you have to. I mean, you could create things in the house or whatever, but we need to get out. It's beautiful days and stuff. And it's a revival coming up in North Carolina at the end of July. I might try to make that or something. But to enjoy the moment, enjoy your life. Because we can't just be like stuck on what's going wrong. And you know what keeps us bound? What kept me bound for too long was what hindered me, what sent me into my spiritual awakening, wondering what other things was not real, wondering. But when you take up headspace like that, even when you're in the moment, you can't get the most out of everything. You can't. Even when you're completely happy, completely rested. If any part of your mind is taken up by something that's in the past that was done against you, then I read this book once, and something I held on to out that book, it said, there are many people, Nixon's book, there are many people who hate me, but they don't win unless they make me hate them back. And when I had said just a few days ago that there were like two people in the world that I haven't been able to love or even embrace as possible God's children because I felt like they was the devil's children. But I've been able to release that for me so I can really go on, truly go on without any headspace and any negativity and truly live my heaven and truly be the earth angel that I am. And releasing, letting that go, and making a decision to not just surrender my life, but also my will to God. Being even in that headspace has now given me the opportunity to truly be who I'm supposed to be and show up how I'm supposed to show up and give what I'm supposed to give and feel confident in the leader that I am. I hope you got something out of this message. I hope you guys have a great weekend. You know what? God loves you. He really does. And I love you too with the love of Christ. Peace.